And welcome to Things Invest. Talk about investing, finance, pressure driven for today's citizens only. The investment topic today will be NEO, ticker NIO. So it's been a while since I last covered NEO, since the earnings call that happened last week, and ever since then we've been a collection of positive news, but with a higher mixture of negative news, right? And just to keep tabs of like the last 24 hours, respect to one news that cultivated from Bazinga 1 hour ago, respect to a big Canadian pension fund hiked its position in NEO by 40%. Obviously, they put the stamp of approval with the business fundamentals and the value proposition of NEO with their, putting money where their mouth is, right? And secondly, is with respect to some of other recent news that happened about 10 hours ago and 2 days ago subsequently. Let's go back a little bit more. Is with respect to the percolations around the accident that happened with NEO model ES8, right? So with that accident that's been percolating on the media front, that's been kind of, driving some negative pressure, onto the stock price, right? Hitting us all the way below the $40 mark, which was a substantive, and a critical level of resistance that we've been forming, right? Obviously, raise a concern around the Chinese, electric vehicle or smart electric vehicle with the autonomous vehicles technology that we're still cultivating in China, and obviously with these type of new technology that we still need to innovate and improve upon. The regulatory side needs to subsequently match up as well, right? So obviously with these type of news can subsequently hinder the stock price, right? And with NEO's names, with the standing next to the obviously the negative news, it can obviously drive sell off and break us below that $40.03 mark, which is the level of resistance that we have identified so far, right? Another news that obviously is driving the sell-off that we're seeing today, as you saw from my Ethereum video that I posted earlier today, is with respect to the Taliban overtake, Afghanistan as a nation, right? So obviously with any news, cultivating around war, around famine, around pandemics, as we have experienced last March 2020, saw that crash across the whole market, not just for equity but for crypto at the same time. It's definitely something that we are also experiencing at the moment right now. So obviously there's a lot of volatility in play, and NEO unfortunately did break the $40 mark, which is a level that we've been eyeing and hoping that we sustain. So I'm gonna go through technical analysis to see, are we gonna see more sell-off going further down to the $34.50 mark, or are we gonna see more of a surge rebounding from the current level that we're at right now? So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. So moving on to the technical analysis for NEO ticker NIO, with respect to the timing of recording 12:51 p.m. It's currently trading like $38.53, down about 6% so far. You can see that with respect to sell-off that we're experiencing right now is obviously coming from the Taliban take over Afghanistan news, but also with respect to the percolations around the accident that happened recently that got picked up, right? But it seems like there's more reinforcement news that's percolating on the media front as well. So with these negative catalysts, despite the positive earnings that we saw a while back, with that anticipated pressure, but it wasn't like substantively strong enough to get us to go above the $46.28 level to get to the next level, $49.48 level, which is the level of next resistance level that we've identified so far. We are, currently experiencing a little bit more of a bearish pressure, right? But great news for those that are invested in NEO, we are highly oversold at the moment with respect to RSI. We're basically at the floor right now. Also, on top of the fact that, with respect to MACD, we're highly overstretched down, right? And this is an abnormal cadence, in a stock market perspective, in a supply and demand dynamic perspective at the same time. Also, on top of the fact, we have a gap that we formed. So whenever we form a gap, we have to fill the gap, right? So the next subsequent step would be ideally for us to rebound from here. So I think if you're buying on the dip today at the $38.50 level, I think it's a steal, to be honest with you, right? So I actually will be buying today, and I think this is a great level to buy at. I actually am planning on buying another 500 shares. So collectively, I will have 9,000 shares after today, after I incur the purchase today, right? And I think the rebound, despite the negative news on the Taliban overtake, Afghanistan news, and the negative news from the accident, I think eventually we're gonna rebound, right? Knowing the fact that the Canadian pension fund did put in they upped their stake into 40%, which is a pretty big move, in terms of investment diversification perspective in their portfolio, right? So on top of the fact we have a gap and we oversold completely, that we need to form some sort of a curvature, right? But if you want to be more risk averse, I'll wait until the MACD start forming some sort of a curvature, right? And then we should subsequently rebound to get back above the $40 level, and then testing the $42.05 level first. But ideally, we should be recouping backward as we expect the sector rotation that should be occurring, momentarily. However, there is another catalyst with respect to Jackson Hole's speech that we'll be expecting by end of August from Jerome Powell on his depictions around the inflationary pressure and obviously the quantitative tightening or tapering plan that will be foreshadowed going forward, right? So that could potentially get us down back to like the current level that we at. But knowing the fact that we are at a relatively substantive level, if you look back, I'm not going to go back all the way, but the level that we've identified so far are very substantive. The 34.69 is another very substantive level, right? So if you buy now, it's just a logical move. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's a level that we will not be staying for a long time. I think we will actually continue to rally up by year end, right? I do foresee an all-time high by year end, and my all-time high is $85 by year end 2021. Which should be expected with the sector rotations happening, also the window dressing among hedge fund community at the same time. Just recap some numbers and technical analysis. With respect to 3850, right, we are at a steal level, so I think it's ideal for you to be buying it right now. It's a logical move, based on the technicals and based on the discount cash flow analysis. If you project out the business going forward in a financial perspective, it's a steal level, based on, I'm going to be buying 500 shares for NEO today. And if you bought in at the 43, don't worry about it. This is a macro driver that drove the sell-off today. It's not just specific for NEO, so it has nothing to do with the business fundamentals. So if you hold long, right, and respect to the sector rotation that should be happening later in Q3, we should be getting ideally to $85 in price target for yen 2021. Which is subsequently, if you buy in at the 3850, that will be a north of 100% of an upside, over 2 times your money from here. So that's it for the respect my technical analysis on NEO ticket NIO. So I'm just gonna go back to having my lunch again. But I was planning on doing this NEO video anyways. And some people actually picked up on this. So appreciate you for reaching out, asking for specific questions at the same time. I'm gonna be around. I have like a couple meetings here and there afternoon today, but I'm gonna be around again, relatively responsive all the time, anyways. So just feel free to give me a shout and stay tuned for this coming up.